Laura had always been a fighter. Life had thrown her more curveballs than she cared to count, but she never stopped swinging. After a messy divorce 6 months earlier, she was left juggling two jobs to keep a roof over her kids' heads. Mia was 7, Jake was 5, and they were her whole world. Most days, Laura's life was a blur, stocking supermarket shelves at dawn, scanning groceries with a forced smile until noon, rushing home to cook dinner, help with homework, and collapse into bed with aching feet. Dreams were a luxury she hadn't had in years. But that Saturday morning in late July was different. Laura woke to a strange tingling sensation on her left cheek. Half asleep, she rubbed at her face, assuming it was a stray hair or maybe a reaction to the bargain bin detergent she'd been using lately. But when she stumbled into the bathroom and flipped on the harsh fluorescent light, she froze. There on her left cheek were 3 small black spots. They were raised and swollen, with a faint red halo around each one. Laura leaned closer to the mirror, her heart giving an uneasy thud. Bug bites? A rash? Her fingers hovered over the spots, then touched them gingerly. Sharp pain flared up her jaw. By midday, the spots had darkened considerably. The tingling had grown into a slow, throbbing ache that seemed to pulse with her heartbeat. Laura tried to shake it off. She piled Mia and Jake into her beat-up Honda and headed to the local park, hoping the fresh air would clear her head. It didn't help. As she pushed Mia on the rusted swing set, Laura caught sight of her own left forearm and nearly dropped the chains. More spots were there, crawling up her skin like a dark, ugly road map. 5, 6, 7 of them, each one angry and swollen. Panic prickled at the edge of her mind. That evening, Laura called her family doctor, Dr. Morris, whose calm voice had been a small island of stability through her divorce proceedings. "Come in first thing Monday morning," he said after she described the symptoms. "But Laura, if it gets worse before then, don't wait. Go straight to the emergency room, okay?" The gravity in his voice sent a chill down her spine. That night, Laura barely slept. She sat at her kitchen table until 3 in the morning, the glow of her phone screen lighting up endless medical articles. Spider bites, allergic reactions, Lyme disease. Nothing quite fit her symptoms. By Sunday morning, she couldn't wait any longer. The spots had spread to her neck and shoulders, forming what looked like a web of pain tightening around her upper body. Dr. Morris agreed to see her immediately at his weekend clinic. The medical office smelled faintly of antiseptic and barely contained worry. Dr. Morris examined her face with a deepening frown, his usually steady hands trembling slightly as he used a magnifying lens. "These look like spider bites," he muttered, "but the pattern is odd. Have you seen any spiders around your apartment recently?" Laura thought back to the occasional dusty cobweb in the corners, the harmless house spiders she usually ignored. "Just the usual," she said. "Nothing huge or unusual." Dr. Morris hesitated for just a second, but Laura caught it. The slight pause that doctors make when they're not telling you everything. "I'm prescribing strong antibiotics and a topical cream," he said finally. His voice was steady, but his eyes weren't meeting hers. "But Laura, listen to me carefully. If anything changes, anything at all, don't mess around. Go straight to the hospital." The words hung heavy between them. Laura left the clinic, clutching her prescription bag like a lifeline. She tried to tell herself she was overreacting. It was just bug bites. It would pass. But as she walked through her apartment door, something felt wrong. She froze in the narrow hallway. The bathroom door was slightly ajar, and from the corner of her eye, she caught movement. Laura edged closer, her heart hammering against her ribs. Then she saw it. A spider. The size of her palm, jet black with spindly legs that moved with eerie mechanical precision. It crawled out from under the bathroom sink, moving deliberately across the white tile floor. Laura screamed. She slammed the bathroom door shut and backed away, her hand fumbling for her phone. Her fingers shook as she dialed Dr. Morris's emergency line. "There's a spider," she gasped into the phone. "Huge! In my bathroom! What do I do?" There was a beat of silence on the other end. Then Dr. Morris's voice came through, low and urgent. "Laura, listen to me very carefully. Do not go near that bathroom. Call the police right now. Tell them you have a dangerous spider in your home. I'm going to notify the local authorities. This could be a much bigger issue than we thought." A bigger issue? Laura's stomach turned to ice. She called 911, her voice trembling as she explained the situation. The dispatcher, to her credit, didn't even hesitate. "Stay put, ma'am. Officers are en route. Do not approach the bathroom." Laura herded Mia and Jake into the living room, barricading them behind couch cushions and clinging to them like life vests. Every minute felt like an hour. The children asked questions she couldn't answer. Why were the police coming? Why couldn't they use the bathroom? When the officers finally arrived 20 minutes later, they weren't alone. A pest control expert trailed behind them, carrying a steel case and wearing protective gear. His expression said he'd seen worse, but hoped today wouldn't beat his personal record. Laura pointed them toward the bathroom with a shaking hand. The pest control expert opened the door, slowly, cautiously. Then he immediately recoiled. Holy! The officer next to him swore under his breath. The bathroom was crawling with spiders. Black, spindly-legged nightmares coated the walls, the ceiling, even the inside of the bathtub. Dozens of them, maybe more, moving in a horrifying synchronized dance. The expert moved fast, spraying a powerful insecticide and sealing the door behind him. When he emerged 15 minutes later, he pulled off his protective mask. His face was pale. "Black widows," he said grimly. "You're lucky, lady. Real lucky." Laura's knees nearly gave out. Black widows. In her home. Around her children. The expert explained that the recent heat wave, temperatures had been over 100 degrees for 2 weeks straight, combined with nearby construction work, had driven the spiders out of their natural habitats. They'd likely slipped through the building's old plumbing system, nesting in the dark, damp spaces. "We're seeing a surge in cases like this across the city," he said. "You're not alone, but this is one of the worst infestations I've encountered." Somehow, that didn't make Laura feel any better. The next few days were a whirlwind of controlled chaos. Pest control teams worked around the clock, stripping out bathroom panels, sealing pipes, and fumigating the entire apartment building. Health inspectors came through with clipboards and grim expressions. The local news even ran a short segment on urban spider surges, though Laura declined to be interviewed. Through it all, Dr. Morris kept close tabs on Laura's condition. Daily checkups, blood tests, monitoring her healing progress. The antibiotics worked their magic. The cream soothed the angry, swollen bites. Bit by bit, Laura's skin began to heal. Her sense of safety would take much longer. 1 week after the nightmare began, Laura finally felt secure enough to let the kids sleep in their own beds again. She stood in Mia's room, tucking her daughter under the freshly washed blankets. The little girl clutched her old teddy bear, smiling sleepily. Laura bent down, brushing a gentle kiss against Mia's forehead. Her own cheek, still tender and healing, tingled at the contact. She pulled the blanket tighter around her daughter and whispered, more to herself than to anyone else, "Monsters aren't always hiding in the closet, sweetheart. Sometimes they crawl out from under the sink." But as Laura turned off the bedroom light and watched her children sleep peacefully, she knew one thing for absolute certain. She had fought the monsters and won. Nothing, not spiders, not fear, not even the darkest nightmares, was going to take her family away from her. Not ever. This story is based on real events that occurred during the summer heat wave. If you enjoyed this spine-chilling tale of survival, make sure to like and subscribe for more true horror stories. And remember, always check those dark corners of your home. You never know what might be lurking there.